And one of the biggest staples at any concert, whether it's country, classical, rock, is the guitar. So it's important to learn about the guitar because it originates from so many different cultures and has just a very old history. And it also helps us to understand modern music and why it is the way that it is. And this is important because appreciation. So I've been playing the guitar for about 6 years when I started teaching myself, and I've taken quite a bit of music theory classes. So doing research on the origins of the guitar is important to me because I love my guitar so much. So today, in the next 6 minutes, I'm going to tell you how a guitar works, different types of stringed instruments that influence the guitar, the advantages of the guitar over other instruments, and then why it is so popular today. So first, I'm going to show you a little bit of the anatomy of a guitar. So this is called the bridge. These are the strings, the tuning knob, and the neck. So a lot of people think that the strings are what making the noise in the guitar. But what's actually happening is as this string vibrates, you can see it really well on the low strings, it's vibrating back and forth, and what's actually happening is it's pressurizing the air around it, and that resonates through the bridge of the guitar and also through the body of the guitar. And that's what you're hearing is those subtle differences in pressure changes. So how the strings work is pitch is kind of determined by the length of the string, and then it's also determined by the tension, which is adjusted here, and then also the mass of the string. So the smaller the string, the higher it is. So now for a little bit of historical background, a guitar is basically any fret, or this is a loose definition of a guitar, but it's any fretted instrument, which is what you can see here, that has a long neck and then a sound plate that produces the sound. So some of the oldest guitars are about, well, we don't have any, but they're about 4,000 years old. We've seen in ancient Egypt that they have different drawings and stuff of things that kind of resembled a guitar. And the oldest artifact we found in the tomb of some guy who apparently didn't matter, but they're kind of learning still more about that. And it looked something like this. It was a bull harp, and it's made out of like a tortoise shell, and basically you can't change the pitch of it, so it's a lot like a harp. But you can see how it's kind of looks like a guitar. So the closest ancient version of the guitar would be the oud, which was brought to Spain from the Turks, where they added frets, and it became the lute, and that's from Paul Guy. And so there's lots of stringed instruments around the world, such as the sitar, which is this crazy instrument here. You can see how it kind of looks like a guitar, but these frets are actually movable, and that's important for changing the pitch. And here you'll see, this is an oud, where there's no frets on it, so a lot more like a violin. And then they added frets, and it became a lute, which is what you think about when you think of music in the Renaissance period. So you can kind of see the progression here, where this is kind of the origin lute. And this is what we think of as a classical guitar, which obviously resembles a lot like a modern acoustic guitar, and then we branch off into electric guitar and ukulele. So one of the advantages of a guitar is you can get a lot more notes with a smaller amount of hand movement. So I can reach 3 octaves without moving any of my hands. That's 3 octaves, and I really am hardly moving at all. And the other thing is it's a lot cheaper and portable than, say, a piano, which has a large range. And I can attest to that. We just moved a 700-pound piano into my house, and it was very difficult. And the other thing that's nice is when you teach yourself how to play guitar, if you teach yourself one chord, for example, you can very easily transpose it by putting a capo on, and I don't really have to change the chord shape at all, so I'm still using the same pattern, so it's very easy to play different types of music. The other really cool thing, for basically any instrument, you're going to have to at least have a little bit of music reading. But for the guitar, it's not really necessary because of tablature, which is just going to tell you basically where to put your fingers. So it'll say the 5th fret of the 1st string. Another cool thing is sound can be bent, which is not typical for many instruments other than the trombone. So you can bend the sound, which is pretty cool. And you can change the tuning, and for the most part, unless it's a guitar, there's really no instruments that can change the tuning. You can use the guitar percussively, where you can kind of mimic a drum. And then the only disadvantage is it does have a smaller range of pitches that you can play on it. I am missing about 2 octaves below and 2 octaves above that the piano does reach. So the guitar is so popular today, and in my opinion it's for these reasons. So the pitches that our ear is most sensitive to are the pitches that can be played on a guitar, so that's why it sounds pleasing to us. Super easy to sing with, and everyone loves singing. It's a very flexible instrument. You can play any style of music, like I was saying earlier, whether it's country, jazz, rock. And then there's also social influences such as Jimi Hendrix and Eric Clapton, and these guys are like super cool people, and why wouldn't you want to be like them? And one of the reasons that I really enjoy it is I can sit down and learn a song in a week, and it doesn't require mastery. I'm no master at the guitar, but I can learn a song, at least in a simple version, in a week, whereas if I was to play on the piano, for me to sit down and sight read a piece of music would take me much, much longer. And my analogy is a guitar is like gravity. It really draws people in, and it's pretty much constant in all Western music. So in conclusion, the guitar has a very culturally rich history, and it's a very important instrument because amateurs can use it, professionals, and there's really no limitations to how it works. So today I told you about how a guitar works. I told you about the origins and histories of the guitar, the advantages of it over other instruments such as the piano, and also why it's so popular today. So this is important to learn because it allows us to appreciate music and the history of it, because, I mean, without the history, where would the guitar be? And yeah, so if you're interested, I really recommend teaching yourself how to play guitar. It's one of the easiest instruments to play. I've taught many different people how to play the guitar, and they've all enjoyed it if you stick to it. So hopefully next time you're at a concert, you can look at the guitarist or whoever's up there and really appreciate what they're doing. So thank you.